Today I'd like to do a show and tell video about this big TV antenna that I recently acquired. So I bought this antenna off of Kijiji from a local seller. The seller told me that he originally bought this from Radio Shack about 15 years ago, and he said he used it when he lived in the country to get some TV channels. But since moving into the city, he no longer needed it. So he sold it to me for $30, which I thought was a great price. That's about all the information he could give me, though, is that he bought it from Radio Shack. But after doing some research online, taking some measurements and looking at some of the specs on it, I think what this is a Channel Master 3671 Crossfire antenna. It's 173 inches long, almost 15 feet, and here I just have it resting on top of a pool ladder. You can see it's got two reflectors here for UHF, which I have extended. I added a 75 ohm transformer to it, and I just have a piece of coax running to a TV in my garage right now. So as I said, it's 173 inches long. It has a dual boom on it, so it's actually quite rigid considering how long it is. And width-wise, the back elements would be 110 inches long, except this one here, the very last one, has a foot or so broken off of it. But that doesn't seem to hinder low VHF reception, at least for my local channels. It has lots of elements on it, over 60 elements, including the UHF reflector. When I went to look at this antenna, the person selling it actually had it suspended on some rope between two trees because it's so large. They're very hard to store unless you're going to put it up on your roof or on a mast right away. But right now it's working fine just laying here in my backyard. The boom on this antenna is made out of round tubing with nicely finished ends, which is rare these days. Most antennas seem to be made out of square tubing. Also, the elements have nice crimps on the ends, so there's less chance of scratching or poking. There's also a double mast clamp, which along with the double boom makes this antenna much more stout, and it needs it considering how long it is. Reception wise, this antenna has no problem pulling in all my local channels just resting here on the ground, but they're only about 7 or 8 miles away, so that shouldn't be a problem for this antenna at all. The real test of this antenna, of course, would be its deep fringe performance. And if you read any of the reviews online about these Channel Master 3671s, the reviews are generally very high, very positive about fringe reception performance. I live in an isolated area as far as over-the-air TV reception goes. Thunder Bay has 3 over-the-air channels, but we don't have any other major cities near us where we could pick up channels from different markets. The only channel that's close to us is in Calumet, Michigan. WBKP is channel 5 there. It's a CW network that carries also a sub-channel, which is ABC, but they're about 101 miles away across the lake, and you'd think that would be an easy time picking those channels up with a clear shot right across Lake Superior. But the problem is that there's lots of islands in Lake Superior that are kind of mountainous, and that gives those channels at least 2-edge diffraction, which means that the signal gets broken up by those mountainous islands in on Lake Superior. WBKP was a channel that was very easy to receive in Thunder Bay with an analog signal back in the days of analog television. But since the digital transition, it's very difficult to receive. And I've tried putting this antenna up on a mast a few times, especially when the tropospheric conditions are good, and I've had no luck at all receiving those channels. I've tried in the past as well with other antenna setups. I've even tried using my snow roof rake, which is 24 feet long, using that as a mast and putting an antenna on that, and still no luck at all. So unfortunately I can't use this antenna as it was truly meant to be used as a deep fringe antenna, but for $30 I thought it's a fun antenna to have for playing around with, and I thought that today I'd just make a video to show it to you. It's pretty cool, and they're hard to find these days too, especially at that price.